Showcase Beautiful in Pelham's Ballantree. Colleen and David Black, Keller Williams Realty, 356-5412. Call on Colleen.
This is the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Wednesday, the 2nd of September. James Spann here. Nice and quiet day in the weather office. Just a few widely scattered showers, and things look very quiet through the weekend. Let's take a look at some of the Skycam images around the network this afternoon. First off, coming from Inverness. That's a Skycam on top of the Wingate Inn, overlooking Highway 280. Sky mostly cloudy there. The Cullman view, that's looking east from the water treatment plant just east of downtown Cullman, down below traffic on Highway 278. And from Demopolis, looking south right down the Tom Bigby River. A few rays of sun through the clouds. Water vapor satellite shot. Interesting to note that high-level moisture coming from Hurricane Jimena in the Pacific, streaming across Mexico and the Gulf. But in the mid and upper levels, the air is fairly dry here, so rain not much of a player today. Down below that, again, we've got high pressure north of here. That kind of sets up at broad easterly flow, a relatively moist flow. And accordingly, got a couple of showers on radar. That's at 1:45. Most of them today over on the western side of the state, and even there, they are quite scattered. And as expected, temperatures are below average because of the clouds and the easterly flow. Birmingham 79 at 1 o'clock. We should be in the upper 80s. It's almost 10 degrees below average. Convective outlook for today, just a small slight risk over parts of Nebraska. Rain for the next 5 days, not very much. This is valid through Monday morning at 7, and this is suggesting barely enough to measure for much of the state, and that's probably about right. Better rains east and west of here, and of course the heaviest amounts on the board way out there in Baja with the hurricane. Look at the Atlantic Basin. The only system on the board is Erica, tropical storm. Really interesting. Look at the satellite view. Number one, it hasn't moved northwest. It's been moving due west. It's way lower latitude than expected. So instead of passing north of the leewards, it's going to come right on through there. And the other thing, very dry air surrounds that. I mean, really dry air, so it's having a hard time. It's weakening. Still, I mean, it's a tropical storm, but it's going to have a tough time getting stronger. We'll look at the modeling here, and they've adjusted south to accommodate for that lack of any northward component, and now it's got the thing coming pretty much over the Virgin Islands, just north of Puerto Rico, north of Hispaniola, up toward the Bahamas early next week. And the intensity forecast is problematic because the models are all over the board. You got a couple that ramp it up to a Category 3. Many leave it as a weak tropical storm. And I think until we actually see it strengthening, leaving it where it is probably a pretty good idea because of the environmental conditions. Now, this is an interesting look. These are analogs. I do believe that looking at weather in the past is a very valid way of maybe trying to predict weather in the future in storms in the same place, same type upper air pattern going back to 1880. The top 10, all of them recurve off in the Atlantic. Only one bumps the coast of North Carolina, the Outer Banks. But most all of them stay well offshore. None of them reach the Gulf of Mexico. And I really think that's the proper solution for this thing. I just don't think it's a Gulf storm, and more than likely it doesn't touch the East Coast. But we'll see. There's the official track from the Hurricane Center, and they've got it weakening to a tropical depression, and by Monday morning it's near the Bahamas. And again, we got plenty of time to watch this thing, but I just don't think it's a Gulf Mexico player. Out in the Pacific, that's Jimena, the hurricane that's right on the coast of the Baja Peninsula, weakening at this point. Top winds are 100 miles per hour. Yesterday it was 155, so it's weakening pretty quickly. That thing's going to meander around, and that could set up some really big-time flooding out there and maybe spare our friends in Phoenix from some flooding problems up in Arizona. But still, I think some of that moisture winds up in the southwest. Look at modeling. This is the 12Z GFS, valid at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Still broad troughing here over the southeast. Down below, that looks pretty dry. We've got a slight chance of a shower in the forecast. We'll probably let that ride, but sure looks like most places will be dry. Same thing Friday. I just don't know if we need to mention a slight chance to just say partly sunny, mid-80s. Likely there. Should be fine for high school football games Friday night. Saturday starting off the weekend looks dry. Great for Auburn for the Louisiana Tech home opener Saturday evening at Jordan-Hare. Of course, Alabama and Atlanta looks dry there. Of course, they're playing inside, but for the fans that are walking to the Dome, looks like it'll be a great night there. And Sunday looks pretty dry now. You know, we've got showers in the forecast. We'll probably leave them in for now, but if this is right, the deeper moisture stays west up and down the Mississippi River. And also note Sunday, maybe some kind of a wedge type thing setting up with that big old high around Maine. That could send some clouds in here from the east and maybe cool us down a bit. And then Monday of next week, still a weak upper trough. The core of the polar jet is up north. And down below, moisture surges back in here. So that looks like we definitely had better mention showers. Tuesday, same deal. Showery. And Wednesday of next week looks pretty moist. And yeah, we see that thing down there in the southeastern Gulf. I don't know if that's the GFS trying to identify Erica or not. But if it is, it'll be forced northward. There's a look at Thursday of next week. Whatever's down there goes up the Atlantic coast. And at the end of next week, look at the big trough over the east. That's just been the theme all summer long, a mean upper trough in the east. And as long as that thing is there, that'll keep pushing those tropical systems, recurve them off of the Atlantic or certainly keep them out of the Gulf. And that's what it looks like down below at the surface. Into the forecast on the 18th of September. Trough out west, another interesting feature on the mid-Atlantic coast. Could that be a tropical storm? It could be. At the rate we're going, that's the way these things want to roll this year, but much of the nation at that point looks dry, and no sign in this run of any issues down in the Gulf of Mexico. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video here by 7 a.m. tomorrow. And, of course, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 News at 5, 6, and 10. Again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening, and God bless.